What is up, everybody? On this channel, I generally talk Detroit sports. That's more than what 90% of the channel is. However, I thought this would be an interesting topic to discuss. How can Patrick Mahomes surpass Tom Brady? Am I getting a little bit ahead of myself? Yeah, probably a little bit, but Mahomes deserves it. The general consensus is that the only way for Mahomes to ever surpass Tom Brady as the GOAT is to win 7 Super Bowls. Now, Mahomes having to win Super Bowls is part of the equation. That's certainly part of what he has to do to surpass Brady, but that's not even close to the complete story. Super Bowls are won by teams. Teams win Super Bowls, believe it or not. And I am a huge Tom Brady fan. And there's things that get completely overlooked about him because he has 6 Super Bowls. I don't think he gets enough credit for what he did in some of those Super Bowls, or just in those Super Bowl runs. So I have a slightly different way for Mahomes to surpass Brady. Mahomes needs to win 4 Super Bowls while accounting for over 70% of his team's total offensive yardage. And I'll show you what I mean right now. Here's a list of some notable Super Bowl runs by quarterbacks. And I listed them in descending order of how much of the team's total offensive yardage the quarterback took up. And please keep in mind that the year is referring to the season. I'm aware that the 1999 Super Bowl took place in 2000, but it was the 1999 season, if that makes any sense. But Kurt Warner, when he won his Super Bowl, he took up an insane 90.6% of his team's total offensive yardage, which, as far as I know, no quarterback has ever done that. Kurt Warner is the only one who has done that. But he only did it once. So that's probably why he doesn't get mentioned as the GOAT as often as Tom Brady. But as you can see, Tom Brady takes up 3 of these runs. And I can't say 100%, but as far as I know, Tom Brady is the only quarterback to win 3 Super Bowls while accounting for over 70% of his team's total offensive yardage. Aaron Rodgers has accounted for a big chunk of his team's yardage, but it didn't always lead to a Super Bowl win. In his Super Bowl win, he accounted for 75.8% of his team's total offensive yardage. And Eli Manning in 2011, that was actually a really good run by him. 72.3% of his team's yards and 81.8% of his team's total touchdowns, which is the highest percentage of any of these quarterbacks I listed, even Kurt Warner. Mahomes in these playoffs has accounted for 85.8% of his team's total offensive yardage and 75% of his team's total touchdowns. So if Mahomes defeats the 49ers, or if the Chiefs defeat the 49ers, and Mahomes continues to carry that large of a workload, he will already have done something that Tom Brady has never done, and I don't think he's ever going to at this point in his career. If Mahomes wins the Super Bowl and keeps up at the rate he's going, he will have done something that Aaron Rodgers has never even done. And if Mahomes wins the Super Bowl, it would be more impressive than what Rodgers did in 2010, because the Chiefs have given up over 20 points a game so far in these playoffs, and Rodgers got much better defensive support in his playoff run than Mahomes has gotten so far. And what would make this run more impressive than what Brady did in 2016 is that the average wins of Brady's opponents in 2016 only had 10.3 wins on average. And if Mahomes defeats the Niners, his average opponent would have had 10.7 wins. And I just want to shout out to Eli Manning really fast, because he's polarizing, but what he did in 2011 should not be polarizing. Of the quarterbacks on this table that I decided to use, he had the toughest run. He had to defeat a 10-win team, a 15-win team, and two 13-win teams to get the job done. But again, he's only done that once. He hasn't consistently carried the offense to a Super Bowl win the way Tom Brady has. And that's why Tom Brady's the GOAT. He's carried his offenses to Super Bowl wins more consistently than pretty much any quarterback has done in NFL history. And if Mahomes can maintain that level of consistency, then a conversation definitely has to be started, especially if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. Because if Mahomes keeps up at this pace, like I said, and continues to take up over 80% of his team's total offense in the Super Bowl, he will already have done something that Tom Brady never did and what Aaron Rodgers never did. He's only been starting for 2 seasons, so this video is certainly jumping the gun a little bit. But if there's any player that can surpass Tom Brady right now, it is definitely Patrick Mahomes. But he needs a longer resume and needs to consistently carry his teams to Super Bowl wins. I wouldn't even really say Tom Brady carried his teams to Super Bowl wins because for the most part he got solid defensive help. In 2014, Tom Brady didn't really get that great of defensive help though. The Patriots gave up 24 or more points in 2 of the wins in that Super Bowl run. The only really great game the defense had was against the Colts. But outside of that game, the Patriots defense was a little shaky. And yes, Malcolm Butler did get the game-winning play, but that's one play out of lots of plays that happen in a game. But yeah, like I said, this could be jumping the gun a little bit, but I at least felt that this deserves to get talked about. And there's probably other ways that some of you viewers could see Mahomes surpassing Brady, but for me, he just needs to win 4 Super Bowls while accounting for over 70% of his team's yardage in those runs. But yeah, that'll be all for this video. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said, this is generally a Detroit sports channel, but I felt that this is definitely a topic worth discussing. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed.